Hello everybody, I'm going to show you one of the best dungeon onslaught builds. Makes so many fire sprites, constantly healing, radiant, clearing ads, and dealing insane DPS damage. And it all has to do with this season's exotic weapon, Dragon's Breath. This build excels in dungeons, onslaught, legend lost sectors, nightfalls, and most PvE scenarios. If you're looking for other hunter builds, check my channel, and if you like what you see, consider subscribing for more. I will link the build from the Destiny item manager down below. And while you're there, leave a comment on what you would like to see next and what type of videos you want to see. More builds, weapon reviews, the new content from Into the Light and soon to be Final Shape, and tell me on recommendations on how to make this build better. Thank you guys so much for getting us to 580 subscribers. I appreciate you guys so very much. But with that out of the way, let's get into the video. This build will use the Solar subclass with Blade Barrage as their super with the following aspects. Knock them down. This will launch more knives in your super, and while you're radiant, launching your knife attack will automatically recharge it back. I will show you the loop on how to constantly be radiant and have your knife attack always. Next aspect, on your mark, precision final blows will grant you and nearby allies better handling and reload speed that can be stacked 3 times, and activating your dodge will immediately grant full stacks. For our dodge equipped Gambler's Dodge, you want your melee charge back, and this will start your knife throw loop. Throw a knife at a weak enemy, they die, and you obtain your knives back. This will be important later. Equipped any jump you want, equipped Knife Trick, you will throw a fan of 3 knives that will scorch your enemy. Equipped Healing Grenades, you want to have more restoration objects available to you to have high survivability. Besides having the fire sprites heal you, it's not a bad idea to have a plan B. Your gameplay loop will work like this. Either throwing your knives to kill and scorch low rank enemies, spawning fire sprites that gives you restoration and radiance, that recharges your knives and giving you a way to restore health, or use your knife to debuff a mini boss or boss. Just before a boss phase, make sure you have your knife and dodge. Throw your knife, debuff the boss, then shoot Dragon's Breath, dealing damage on impact, dealing 5 explosions for however much fuel it has. Switch over to your DPS special, in this case our Strand Fusion Rifle, Scatter Signal. Unload about 3 to 4 shots, by then the debuff should wear out, so get near the boss or near enemies to dodge, get your knives back and throw them at the boss. With that much time between using Scatter and dodging and debuffing, switch back to Dragon's Breath and shoot it at the boss. You should have 5 fuel stacks again. Rinse and repeat. And since we are using our knives to debuff instead of granting us restoration, we can use our high discipline and healing grenades to keep our survivability high. Let's keep the seasonal artifact mods for later, and let's talk about the fragments for the solar side of our build. Start by equipping Ember of Torches. A knife throw will grant you and nearby allies radiance. This ties in with Knock 'em Down. Giving you radiance will give you a knife charge back, so if you keep throwing your knives as long as you don't miss, you'll get your knife charge. Ember of Singeing. Your class ability recharges faster when you scorch enemies. This is great because we can scorch enemies with our Solar Auto Rifle with Incandescent and Dragon's Breath to scorch enemies. Ember of Searing. Killing scorched enemies spawns a fire sprite and grants melee ability energy. Your knives cause scorch, and so defeating an enemy will grant you a fire sprite and radiance to get your knives back and continue your loop. Ember of Mercy. When you revive an ally, you grant restoration to you and nearby allies. Picking up a fire sprite grants restoration. This is part of our gameplay loop. Using your knives to kill a low rank enemy will scorch them and drop fire sprites, and since you are radiant and kill an enemy with your powered melee gives you radiance, you can keep this loop up as long as you kill with your powered melee. And lastly, Ember of Empyrean. Solar kills extend the duration of restoration and radiance effects by 4 seconds up to a maximum of 12 seconds. So after you finish your gameplay loop, collect your fire sprites and it will extend your restoration and radiance, and now you'll have more time to heal and get another melee kill for your loot. For the exotic weapon, we'll be using Dragon's Breath. We'll be using it on mini bosses and bosses for DPS or massive ad density areas to make large amounts of fire sprites. And since they provide restoration, we'll be healing and radiant always. Dragon's Breath exotic perk is Composite Propellant. Rockets embedded themselves in struck targets and periodically eject incendiary fuel and inflict scorch. The longer this weapon goes without firing, the more fuel the next rocket contains. And its catalyst is Pyromancer. This weapon replenishes its fuel faster, and defeating targets with this weapon causes them to periodically dry fire sprites. Like I said before in our gameplay loop, we'll get the boss weak with our solar ability and we'll fire our Dragon's Breath. The rocket will stay in the boss and explode the amount of fuel charges you accumulated. If the target starts igniting other enemies nearby due to explosions, it could also replenish your fuel stacks and reload your weapon for you when you're reaching your max stacks with the High Octane perk. But once you shot it, switch over to fusion rifle, fire about 3 to 4 rounds, dodge near an enemy to regain your knives, and throw it to weaken the boss, and then fire another Dragon's Breath rocket. Rinse and repeat. For our exotic armor priest, we'll be using Shards of Galanor. Throwing knives, final blows, decrease the cooldown of your super. Hits and final blows with the Blade Barrage will return super energy after this super ends. As long as you keep throwing your knives while being radiant and killing enemies with your gameplay loop, you will be gaining super energy back, and you can keep this loop up and gain super energy really fast. And even using Blade Barrage will grant you 1/3 of your energy back. Beyond the exotic weapon, grab Amit AR2, a solar auto rifle from the Witch Queen campaign. Playing through the first 2 missions will get you the weapon. Craft it with incandescent. Defeating a target spreads a long-lasting scorch to those nearby. More powerful combatants and opposing guardians can cause scorch in larger radiuses. An ambitious assassin overflows the magazine based on the number of rapid final blows before reloading. Improves reload. Use your auto rifle to deal damage to clear ads. Incandescent makes it easy to spread scorch, and when you reload, you will overflow your magazine because of all the kills that you got before the reload. And for your special ammo, grab the Scatter Signal from the Season of the Wish, an amazing strand fusion rifle for DPS. Get it crafted by playing Season of the Wish activities, and craft it with controlled burst. Landing every shot in a burst grants this weapon increased damage and reduced charge time for an improved duration. An overflow. Picking up special or heavy ammo loads this weapon even further beyond the normal capacity. This is so we don't ever have to reload the weapon, and controlled bursts will always be in effect since hopefully the boss is large enough to never miss a shot, decreasing our charge time and increasing our damage for every shot. Now let's get into the armor mods. For your helmet, 2 hands-on mods. This will increase the charge time of your super with every knife kill even more. And 1 harmonic siphon. This will make sure that every rapid solar kill you'll obtain an orb of power, and with those we'll also be collecting super energy. For your gloves, impact induction, causing damage with a powered melee, will reduce your grenade cooldown. And heavy-handed, your powered melee, final blow will grant orbs of power. On your chest, charged up. This will increase the amount of armor charges you can carry up to 1. You'll be obtaining armor charges through orbs of power, and we need this because we're going to be equipping solar weapon surges on your boots. This will grant solar weapons a small bonus in damage. Also put better already to start regenerating health by picking up an orb of power. You can put any damage resistant mods on your chest. But on your hood, put on Reaper. Shortly after dodging, your next weapon kill will drop an orb of power. This is great with Gambler's Dodge because if you're Radiant, you would be dodging and granting yourself a knife trick. You can get an enemy low enough with the melee and then shoot your Amit or any gun weapon to grant you an orb of power and a fire sprite for restoration. Equipped powerful attraction so that when you dodge, you'll automatically collect nearby orbs of power when doing so. And equipped bomber to reduce your grenade cooldown when you're using your dodge. I would say focus your stats on discipline and resilience because strength is unnecessary since you regain your knives through dodges. And you want to have high survivability, so resilience is way to go, and discipline is for your healing grenades. I'm going to just go ahead and show you guys the seasonal mods so that you can equip them on your own and see if you like them or not. Well, you've heard me talk about the mods and the build in depth, and you've seen the gameplay of this build in the background of this video. I hope this video helped you get a very insane Hunter DPS dungeon and Onslaught solar build. It would mean a lot if you could subscribe and leave a like, and comment on how I can improve this build and which subclass I should do next. Again, I want to thank everyone who stayed to watch at the end of the video. I again want to thank everyone who stayed and watched till the end of the video. I also want to thank you guys for the major support I got in all of my previous videos, and 580 subscribers since my last build video. Thank you guys so much, and I appreciate every single one of you. That will be it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.